Hey everybody, welcome back to The Dive. Our guest today is a CPA with over 30 years of experience, and he's served as a senior officer and director of many publicly traded companies. He will deep dive into the Canadian government's support for battery metals, his thoughts on automakers entering the mining industry, the recent price action in gold, as well as an overview of the company, the recent option agreement, term sheet agreement, and what investors should know over the near term. He is the president and CEO of Hemlo Explorers, Inc. Brian Howlett's joining us today. But before we bring you Brian's interview, do me one quick favor and just go ahead and smash that subscribe button, please. Hey, Brian, welcome to The Dive.
Thanks very much, Cassandra. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, so let's dive right into it. The Canadian government has announced funding, and Ottawa's planning to spend $3.8 billion to support battery metals. The funds will go towards mineral surveying, processing, recycling, and tax credits for digging new mines, and towards subsidies for infrastructure. What impact do you think this will have on the Canadian mining sector?
I think it's a really strong statement by the government to get in to encourage mining in this country. We've really had a lack of battery metals capabilities in Canada, but we do have the resources in the ground. And one of our projects coming up does have battery metals in it, and we'll talk about that as we get farther into it. But you're seeing the automakers that have plants in Canada get into electric vehicles. So, they're going to need supply, and it can't just come from China. It has to come locally.
Yeah, Elon Musk lamented the rising cost of lithium in a recent tweet and suggested that Tesla may get into the mining business to help solve shortages of key raw materials that go into rechargeable lithium-ion electric vehicle batteries. Do you think that this move makes sense? And do you think that we will start to see more automakers enter into the mining space?
Honestly, I don't think it makes sense. I think they should stick to their lane and make cars and make good cars, as they do, as do the other automakers, and let the mining companies find the lithium, find the other metals that are necessary. I think to try to be too vertically integrated is going to be a big challenge for them. It's a totally different industry than what they're used to. So that's my own personal opinion.
All right, so let's move on here. The Russian central bank announced that it will stop buying gold at a fixed price from local banks starting on April 8th and continue to purchase at a negotiated price. This move comes after Russia's ruble recovered to pre-invasion levels. How closely are you following Russia in regards to the price action in gold?
Like anybody, I'm following what's going on in the war and how it's affecting the Russian economy. I don't think their price action is meaningful enough to make a big difference in the price of gold. I think market factors are going to push gold up higher anyway. But I think Russia's a very small player in that business. The big players are the U.S., Canada, Australia, and China. So I don't think Russia does produce a lot of gold, but that's buying from their own producers. It doesn't really affect what's going on outside. And you've seen people like Kinross exit the Russian market or begin the process of exiting the Russian market.
Goldman Sachs has a $2,500 price target on gold this year. What do you think needs to happen in order for the price of gold to hit this price range?
I think all of the pieces are already in place for gold to hit $2,500. I think that's a given. It's with rising inflation, we get the posted rate. I think it's much higher than that. You see it in the pumps, you see it at the grocery stores, and it's I don't see any impediments to gold to getting to 2,500 this year.
Okay, so let's talk about your company. For our guests new to the story, what's the high-level overview for Hemlo Explorers?
Very high-level overview. Hemlo Explorers began its life called Canadian Ore Bodies and was started by Don McKinnon. Don McKinnon was the founder, the original prospector that found the Hemlo mine that's operated by Barrick today. So we amassed the largest land position in the Hemlo area. We had about 38,000 hectares, which is 380 square kilometers, in 3 different projects that we described in all of our materials. The Pic Project, the North Limb, and Hemlo West. So that's what we've done recently. We've optioned part of it, and we can get into that later on. We think we have some very prospective gold ground in around basically the largest mine to date in Canada, with 22 million ounces produced at the Hemlo mine.
Okay, so you've entered into an option agreement with First Energy Metals, we saw. Could you give us some more color on this?
Sure. We had a lithium project somewhere northwest of Thunder Bay, and it really was non-core to us. We didn't really talk about it in our quarterly filings on our website, anything. And we engaged a consultant to help us find a buyer, and we closed the deal within about a week to maximize the value for us. We got about $250,000 in cash and stock committed to us over the next 2 years as they earn into the project. And basically, First Energy will earn 100% of the ground we gave them. And it was not core to us, and we would not have been able to keep them. We would have let them expire. So good deal for First Energy, good deal for Hemlo Explorers.
So you also announced that you entered into a binding term sheet with Barrick Gold Corp. What can you tell us about the term sheet agreement?
Okay, sure. That's probably the most exciting news we've had in a long time. We've spent the last 5 years looking at a place called Wire Lake and surrounding areas. And we got it to the point where it really needs a lot of work, and probably beyond the scope of a junior. So Barrick is committed to spend $1 million a year, with $800,000 only in the first year, to bring that to a pre-feasibility in the next 6 to 8 years. And that's a huge win for us. We'll own 20% at the end of that. They're also doing a small financing into us. Juniors always need money, so that's a good thing. And if we get below 10%, we'll have a 1% NSR. But it's probably the most exciting development in the company today. And we have 38,000 hectares. They took about 16,000.
Okay.
So we still have the bulk of our ground left. And we kept one small piece of the Pic project called Project Idaho.
Perfect. So is there anything else that investors should look forward to with Hemlo Explorers before I let you go?
Absolutely. I think Project Idaho is a copper palladium project. It's 3 kilometers due east of the Generation Mining claims, where they're developing their mine. And they've recently got $240 million from a royalty streaming company that is allowing them to build their mine. We think we have some of the same geology, and we're looking to get on the ground and begin drilling that this summer. There has been drilling back in 1987, and there was about 112 meters of sulfides that need to be investigated. We have the drill logs. We don't have the assays from that, so we got to go re-drill it. It was drilled about 35 years ago. So that'll be our first target for this summer and generate some exciting news there.
Perfect. Well, we'll have to get you back on to get the updates once the assay results come in and everything, Brian. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story with us.
Well, thank you. And I would encourage your readers to pay close attention. We're going to have news coming out in the coming weeks that are going to tell more about the Project Idaho story.
Perfect. Very exciting. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching today. We'll be back again tomorrow with the latest news and updates, and you're not going to want to miss it. So be sure to turn that notification bell on before you go.